chapter 1 of the graphic audio. It's very dramatic.
Dinner is served.
I've spent a lot of time just disassociating and staring at walls. I am about to ascend into the world of grandma decor. I'm also going to do some work on my cross stitch. It is the romance that I most want to read right now. You know what isn't real good? Drinking tequila all night. So I have a week to reread Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, which I feel like is the way that I'm starting every vlog recently. But I'm going to be rereading this because I am a co-host for Sandra's read along. Sandra's channel is Got a Thing for Things, and she is hosting a big old Brandon Sanderson Cosmere read along, which honestly is a long time coming, because if you are familiar with any of the epic fantasy book clubs that I'm a part of, we always end up referencing Sanderson at some point during the live show. He is a touch point for a lot of us in terms of epic fantasy, and I have already read the majority of the Cosmere, I would say at this point. I've read Elantris, Warbreaker, all of Mistborn apart from the last book in Mistborn Era 2, and the first 3 books in the Stormlight Archive. So I am embarking on this reread journey to refamiliarize myself with everything and then continue on and finish up the stuff that I haven't read yet. So finish out the Stormlight Archive, carry on and read like all of the secret projects attached to the Cosmere, as well as any other bits that he's added, so that I am, I was going to say hopefully, ready for his upcoming publications. But this is a bi-monthly book club, so you know, by the time we get that far, I imagine he's going to have a ton more books out that we're going to need to catch up on. But Elantris was not only the first Brandon Sanderson book that I read, it was also, I'm pretty sure, the first adult epic fantasy book that I read. And I think it was 2018 when I picked this one up. It is in the history of my YouTube channel, but like in the very, very early days. And I remember very, very little about this. So I'm really excited to revisit it, especially as somebody who is a lot more versed in epic fantasy, but also a lot more familiar with Brandon Sanderson now, and see if my opinions change, if I appreciate it more, or whether because it's his first published book I actually end up enjoying it a little bit less. What I remember of this one is that it is about a city called Elantris, and this used to be a city full of magic, but something has changed in recent years and Elantris is rotting. There are people who randomly gain the magic of Elantris as well, and this used to be something that was divine, that was sought after, but since this change in Elantris, it is now essentially a death sentence. And one of our main characters in here is a prince of a nearby area who wakes up one day and finds out that he has this like magical affliction, and he is sent off and banished to Elantris, where he tries to figure out what's going on and gets the lay of the land. Another core character that we follow in this one is the princess who was betrothed to this guy, and she has been traveling from wherever she's from to the place where he lives to marry him and become the princess, and I imagine eventually the queen of this land, only to find out that her fiance now has this magical affliction and has been banished. So she is on one side of this while he's on the inside trying to figure it out. I can't remember if we have any more character perspectives than that. I have actually already started this, but I'm only 1 chapter in. I've read 15 pages, and for the time being, actually, considering this is a reread for me, I am going to be listening to the graphic audio. Now, I wouldn't typically go for a graphic audio of an epic fantasy, just because in terms of how I retain information, eyeballs is the way to go for me. But because I have already read this, and because a couple of you guys really recommended the graphic audio in the comments of my TBR, I've decided I'll give it a try. I do suspect that I'm going to listen to some of the audio and read some of it physically. That kind of hybrid reading, once again, doesn't bother me because it's a reread. And so far, chapter 1 of the graphic audio is very dramatic. It actually feels like I'm watching one of those, you know, like late night scary story TV shows from like, God, they've got to be like, the most recent ones must have been the 90s, if that. There was this TV show of an old guy, I don't know if he was old actually, but a guy in a chair, and he would read like spooky stories really dramatically. That's what the graphic audio is given at this point, so we'll see how it progresses. It's in 3 parts. I'm listening to it on Spotify because I still have about 8 hours of my Spotify audiobook listening from this month, and then that renews in 3 days, so I'll have a new 15 hours. And I think in total this is going to to eat up about 18 to 20 hours. And one of the downsides of graphic audios for me is that I don't really like to speed them up at all. I think I have this on like 1.2 speed because I don't like how the music distorts if you speed it up, and I want that full dramatic experience. Otherwise I might as well just listen to a regular audiobook. So it's going to take me a while to get through this one, which is why I'm thinking of jumping between audio and physical reading. But we'll see kind of like how it plays out, and if I pick up a physical read and just go with audiobook on this, I'll decide a little bit later down the line. But today I am actually hosting reading sprints on Patreon for free members. I think maybe a year or so ago now, Patreon added a free feature to Patreon where people could essentially just like follow you, and then as a creator, like you can choose who you want to receive the content. So you can essentially put out like news bulletins, announcements and stuff to an entire community, and then still have like your other Patreon content as well. And just because that's something that Patreon naturally integrated, I have gathered quite a few people there. So I thought I would do some sprints today just to say hello to everyone who's following me on there, and so far it's a good time. So I actually have a book to finish for another vlog. I don't have too much left of it though, and then I'm going to devote myself to this, get stuck into it, and see how much we can get done. I am very aware that I only have a week to do this, and I also really want to make progress on my TBR as well. This is kind of unfortunate timing because I finished painting the spare bedroom now, which is the best audiobook activity, so I don't have hours and hours of painting time to listen. But I've been enjoying going on like longer dog walks with Kami and stuff, so maybe we will get through a chunk of it doing stuff like that throughout the week.
I couldn't see with how close I was. It's not hard to find if your grip is loose enough.
Dinner is served. And today's TV show of choice is season 1 of The Valley.
Previously on The Valley.
Good morning. I need as much audiobook time as possible this week, so I'm going to take Kami on a nice big walk, which is very exciting actually for me more than her, because she's actually incredibly lazy which is wild to me. I was thinking of checking out a new coffee shop on the way back, but we'll see how I feel, because right now I'm not in the mood, but after a walk, you know, I might have worked up an appetite.
How lucky to be by your side, to feel your stare. Sick as a dog, I run my hands through your hair. Oh, my heart will change. I wait for nothing. The intense rearrange. Making space where there was none before.
You're having a good time over there.
She says she's running on time. Darling, aren't we all?
I only read 5 books in July. I know. How did I allow that to happen? I'm blaming my mental health, honestly, because it wasn't amazing in July, especially during that last week. My anxiety levels have been through the roof, and I've spent a lot of time just disassociating and staring at walls. And that is not a great mental environment for reading. So not a lot was read, and I'm behind on a bunch of things. And one of those things is my reread, annotation, and recap of A Court of Mist and Fury. I kind of hit a brick wall with this at one point. I'm on page 272, so I think that's about halfway. Nope, it is under halfway. This is over 600 pages. I think it's because I got to the point in the book where we start talking about what the plot of the series is going to be, moving from this more isolated plot line focusing on Feyre onto this bigger plot line where the fate of the world is in peril. And because the scope of the plot gets so much bigger, and also Feyre goes to a new part of the world in this book, so she learns a lot about that and is challenging her misconceptions, and she's also still a novice in the world of the Fae in general. There was just a lot of information, which when it comes to making the recap for this, it's a lot that I have to condense from the book into my Word document. So I kind of ran out of steam, but I do need to get this up as soon as possible because in August I should be reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. So this afternoon I'm gonna do 3 chapters because that's still a good like 30 pages. We'll see. What time is it now? I do want to work on Patreon bookmarks today as well. It's 1:30, so maybe I'll go until like 2:30. I'll do an hour of this and see how far along I can get.
Me something that I won't need to resolve. So twist my words until you can find a way to make them work for you. Your windshield drawings start to fade. Oh, my heart will change. I wait for nothing. The intense.
Hi friends. I am not having a good day. And so I thought that I would be a little vulnerable and talk about it in a way that I haven't on my channel in a while, I feel. And at the beginning of this year, I said about how I wanted to bring back weekly vlogs again, because I used to love making them. I used to post them weekly, like religiously. And you may have noticed that that kind of content has not been super frequent on my channel this year. And at the beginning of the year, when I was talking about this, I said that when I'm not in a good place mentally, I pull away from this kind of content, because to film a vlog like this that contains more than just reading can feel really vulnerable to me when I'm not doing well mentally, because when my mental health is suffering, I really withdraw and I pull into myself, and opening up even like really mundane areas of my life outside of what we're all predominantly here for, which is of course the books, can feel like I'm opening myself up for criticism, or there is potential for criticism there. And I would love to tell you guys that negative comments, you know, are water off a duck's back, but when my mental health isn't great, a single negative comment can tip me over the edge. And unfortunately, that happened last night. And I do try to live by the mantra of what other people think about me is none of my business, as long as I move with intention and I move with integrity and I feel like I am true to myself. That is all that should matter. But when I'm feeling low, I do feel especially vulnerable and especially raw. So full transparency, we're not going to go into the negative comment that I saw, because honestly, it's not about the contents of the comment, it's more about how I received it. And I essentially couldn't sleep very well last night, so I've had a shit night's sleep, which is great. And then it's 12:30 now. I got up at 10:30, but I woke up at 8:30 and spent the first 2 hours of my day crying in bed, which there's a big part of me that doesn't even want to admit that to you guys. Like, I don't want to show vulnerability, because I feel like in some ways, in a lot of ways, talking about this stuff draws attention to this stuff. It opens people up, or me up, should I say, to more criticism. And I think even now as a woman, putting myself forward on a platform, we are taught that like you can't be vulnerable because you're a crybaby, but also you can't be too hard because then you're snarky. And I tend to go for the angle of not showing vulnerability and not showing weakness, when really off camera, I'm a mess most of the time. Like, things deeply affect me. I am deeply sensitive, and I feel, especially when my mental health isn't good, which it isn't now, these kind of things can send me into a spiral. Like, I can fixate on a negative comment that I don't even believe in for days. And I wish that I didn't. And there are things that I do to protect my peace and to safeguard myself. I do not engage in any kind of gossip website, even unless things are brought to my attention. Like, I do not go there because you're asking to get hurt if you go on websites like that as a content creator. And I also try not to engage with any negative comments or the majority of negative comments on my channel, because I feel like giving any kind of credence to them is what people want. Like, they want attention, they want a rise out of you, they want a reaction, which is why I try not to give in to that. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to rage about how unfair some people's opinions are of me and how they're wrong, and that making assumptions about my character based on very limited knowledge is just like ridiculous. And why are you even going out of your way to spread such negative energy in the first place? Like, I want to scream about this from the rooftops, and I really try not to, because I just feel like that is not only giving into what they want, but once again opening up to more criticism from the way that like a situation was handled. And I actually don't even know what the point is in this update. It's not even about negative comments, because unfortunately that is part and parcel of being a content creator and being on this platform. I don't necessarily agree with the sentiment that by posting on social media you're opening yourself up to criticism, because I feel like people should maintain a level of basic human decency. And I don't agree with posting comments on anybody's content that you wouldn't feel comfortable saying to the face of a stranger in the street that you've maybe observed in public for 10 to 15 minutes. People only know what you put forward and present to them, and it does not make up a full picture of who you are as a person. And it always feels really weird to me when people are reading between the lines of what you say to paint this negative picture of you that isn't even true. But this kind of like isn't even about that. It's more about my reaction to things like this, because I know that I need to have a thicker skin, and I know that the level of comments and things of this nature that I receive are very minimal, especially in the wide scope of social media and the internet. Like, the handful, and it truly is a handful, it's a minority of people behaving in this way, is a drop in the ocean in comparison to large scale content creators out there. Like, I am both trying to create content that is very popular and is widely consumed so that my channel can grow, whilst also living in fear of that, because I'm terrified of my content entering the algorithm and reaching a wider audience that don't know anything about me, given my capacity to handle opinions of such nature. I guess the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it does kind of make it hard. Like, I am constantly torn between wanting to make this kind of content, loving making this kind of content that I was making for years and years and years on this channel. I've been here for 9 years. And then also completely shutting out the personal side of my life, the more vulnerable elements of me as a person, and solely focusing on books. Because if you criticize my ability to review books, I honestly don't care. Like, if you say I don't like this channel because you read too much fantasy, I don't like the amount of information that you reveal about a plot, I don't like the authors that you read because I personally choose not to read them, I am okay with all of that. It is the criticisms of my character, and honestly it's when they're wrong that it bothers me the most, because it just blows my mind that people can have such an incorrect and negative and honestly sometimes awful opinion of me when I know that that's not who I am as a person. And today was supposed to be a filming day for me. I was supposed to film my wrap up. I kind of need to film my wrap up today. And I also had a vlog clip to do for the vlog that you should see like next week, and an unboxing for Goldsboro. And I can't film when I'm in this state, because if I get myself ready to film and sit down in front of a camera and I don't have the confidence that I need to be able to create this video in the way that I normally do, my mood, my ability to be able to make the video is going to get lower and lower and lower and lower throughout the entire filming process. And every time I make a mistake, every time I stumble over a word, every time I struggle to get my point across, what is in my head is every negative thing that I have seen people say about me on the internet. And some of you guys are sat there thinking like, she is way too sensitive, like you need to not take these things seriously. And I know that. I know that these people don't know me. I know that these opinions are wrong. I know that I need to not take them personally and not take them seriously, but that does not stop me from being affected by them. And I'm really, really struggling to kind of find a line between this that allows me to confidently create the content that I want to make with authenticity and the same energy and attitude that I've been making it with for 9 years, but also maintain a level of detachment from opinions that I don't let that get in the way. And I'm struggling, guys. I also have a tendency to fixate on things and I can't let them go. It takes me a long time to process, like, this is going to bother me for the entire day. It's ruined my day, and for what? For what? Like, why am I letting the opinions of people on the internet who don't even know me ruin my day? But also, how do I stop it? Like, I don't know. I'm honestly at a loss, and I get so frustrated with myself that I can't kind of move past it and just get on with my day in spite of this, which leads to a lot of frustration, and then it leads to a lot of gaps when it comes to vlogs like this, because I can't just go on with what I intended to do for today. I can't just pretend to be all happy and show you guys the cross stitch I've been working on, because all I want to do is kind of close off and like sink into myself and just internalize all of the shit that people think about me. But yeah, talking about it feels vulnerable. Talking about anything feels vulnerable, honestly, for me a lot of the time. And I'm trying to find a balance, as I said, that allows me to make the content that I want to make while also maintaining like a healthy distance. So yeah, like I said, I already do things to protect my peace. I am very open about the fact that my mental health really plummeted in, I think, 2022 or 2023, mainly because I was so entrenched in the booktube community that it took over my entire life and I had nothing else. Every little thing like this was bothering me because it was all that I was consumed with. And since then, I've taken a step back. I work out religiously, mainly to help me deal with these feelings of anxiety and work through stuff and be able to kind of process things a little bit more rationally. And I think recently I've felt a little bit isolated from the booktube community in general, because for my own mental health, I had to set a boundary there to allow me to have something outside of this and focus on something outside of this and build a life that wasn't on the internet. Because honestly, guys, that's just not good for anyone. Realistically, like, being so consumed with what is happening on a screen instead of enjoying like this beautiful world around us that we may not even have for that much longer. But then I feel like I stepped so far back that I feel so distanced and out of sync with the community. And I've tried to be more active, be more invested again, be more enthusiastic and motivated to work on stuff and work on this channel that I'm really passionate about and that I really love and has opened up so many amazing opportunities for me and honestly changed my life. And now I feel like I'm tipping too far the other way again. And I do want to stress that the negative comments are the minority. I know that the majority of you guys are wonderful and supportive and kind, and even if you were to dislike something on this channel or clash with my personality or just not gel with me, then you would just quietly remove yourself, as I feel most normal people would, and go find content that you do enjoy to consume. But unfortunately, I do find that the negative voices are so much louder than the positive ones, even though it makes up less than 1% of the interaction that I have on this channel. So I honestly don't know what to do with my day now. I'm kind of in half a mind to just suck it up, put my makeup on and film my video. But at the same time, I don't want to get so frustrated with myself because I'm not in a place to be able to do that right now. And it feels so pathetic for me to say, like, I am so sad today that I can't film a video because of something somebody said. Like, I feel pathetic letting it get to me and letting it affect my day like this. And I do like struggle to protect myself in a way where I kind of focus on recovery as opposed to kind of just like pushing through the negativity. So I do know that like mentally that would be best for me, but it does make me feel pathetic to have to like try and coddle myself that way. So I guess that I genuinely don't know what to do. We'll see what I end up doing today. I definitely want to get some more reading done. I'm only 100 pages into Elantris and I need to get through another few hours of audio today before my Spotify hours renew so that I can keep up with the audiobook. But so far as like interacting with content, editing, posting, filming, I honestly just don't really know what my capacity is for that.
Good morning, friends. I am feeling much better today, which is great news. I'm kind of over it now, which makes me feel silly for getting so caught up on it yesterday, but I guess that's processing, right? I've processed, I pondered, and now I feel a lot better. So I have a nail appointment first thing, and then I'm gonna crack on with that filming that I should have done yesterday. Although I think I am actually gonna stop at a charity shop on the way home, because yesterday I went into town to go to the post office with Curtis, and every so often I just let him go to the post office and I check out the charity shops, and they had the most beautiful but also hideous plates I've ever seen, and I decided against getting them, but I've changed my mind, so I'm gonna go back today. I've had quite a few comments about my foundation recently, which hasn't actually changed. I've been using the same foundation for probably about 10 years now. The only difference is that I've gotten colour matched at the end of last year, so my shade has changed. I use the MAC Studio Fix, and my current shade is like a C3.5. I think actually the reason why people are commenting on my foundation so much is more because the lighting's better at this time of year, and also my skin is pretty good at the minute, but just thought I'd mention that in case anybody cared. And I'm just over 200 pages into Elantris now, so I'm pretty much on track to finish it on Saturday. I have 2 hours left of last month's audiobook listening hours, and they renew in 13 hours, so that is my goal for today. I am really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying the graphic audio. I am finding it difficult to switch between physical reading and the graphic audio, because I feel like the tone and pronunciation is very different, and when I try and switch between, it's like I can't automatically recognize who the characters are without like taking some time to really get me acquainted with it, and it's not really worth it when I'm only dipping in and out like on a chapter by chapter basis. So I'm gonna try and prioritize the audiobook for that, which means finding some more audiobook activities to do, which honestly I'm not mad about. I haven't listened to an audiobook without also reading along at the same time for a while, and so I feel like I haven't pursued a lot of the hobbies that I would typically do with an audiobook, and because it's been so long, it actually feels kind of freeing to not have to sit and read like 100 pages with my eyeballs every day right now. That being said, I would like to get to a point where I'm reading 100 pages of Elantris a day and then picking something else up, because I have my Patreon book club book that I'd like to start, but I'm also in the mood for contemporary romance, and I have been for a while now, and I have a couple on my TBR that I would like to pick up if possible. But in terms of Elantris, I was pretty spot on with the synopsis that I gave you guys. We are following predominantly Rereading and Serene. See, this is the thing, like her name is written as Serene, but the audiobook pronounces it Serene. But Rereading is the crown prince of a country that Elantris used to be the capital of, and his family has only actually been ruling for the last 10 years when Elantris fell, and so his father has established all of these new laws and all of these rules, and he doesn't actually want Rereading to take over when he dies. So the general vibe is that the king is quite lazy and indulgent, and Rereading is more interested in ruling a little bit more fairly. And Serene rocks up, who is engaged to be married to Rereading, and finds out that he's actually dead when she arrives. But because of the way the law of this land works, the fact that she was engaged to be married and they couldn't complete the marriage ceremony before his death essentially has her formally like recognized as his wife. So she's like trapped in this new country as the princess, but she's not even married to the prince because she thinks he's dead. Now technically he is, because when people go to Elantris and they get this like disease called Shayod, their heart stops, their skin gets all like grey and splotchy, and anytime they're injured they don't heal from that. So all of these, like if you get a paper cut, it's going to really hurt because it's never going to heal, and eventually all of the citizens of Elantris go mad because all of these like little hurts build up. So when Rereading goes to Elantris, he essentially tries to rally them, give them some hope and unite them, as he is kind of used to doing as a crown prince, and he's really just trying to to find a way to have a meaningful existence in spite of this affliction that he now has. And Shalini arrives and kind of takes over Riordan's place as somebody who is working behind the scenes in the politics of the land to make it a better place for the regular people. We also have a third perspective, I think it would be classed as just three, that I completely forgot about, because we do have like an invasion plotline going on in here as well, where there are these priests who are trying to convert people to their god. And something that really stands against this conversion is people's belief in Elantris, because 10 years isn't a long time. It's not long enough for people to give up their hope and give up their beliefs. And the Elantrians used to pretty much be gods, or at least these like revered beings. So these priests are coming in not only trying to convert people to their religion, but also with plans to invade the country, which they are perfectly positioned to do because the king is so weak. He's also incredibly sexist. He doesn't treat women very well. And he thinks that fighting is pointless and beyond him. So he has all of these guards around that are like trained fighters, but they've never actually seen combat. And he has stopped the nobility from training because he thinks it's beneath them. So these guys are in perfect position to invade. And the only people that really stand in their way are Shalini, who is uniting some of the nobles, and Riordan, who is rallying the people of Elantris, kind of for different reasons. But obviously, like, this unity will create stronger forces to be able to stand their ground against this country. So I am really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying being back in this world. I am enjoying the graphic audio in terms of this being a reread. I don't necessarily think graphic audio is the best choice for me when it comes to epic fantasy. I haven't decided if I'm going to carry on and do the Mistborn books in graphic audio. I might give them a try. Stormlight, definitely going with my eyeballs, but I do still kind of agree that this is only working for me because it's a reread. If I was reading this for the first time, I would definitely be struggling to pick up on the finer points of the story, but that just comes down to me. Like, I'm not somebody who retains information the best audibly, but it's definitely entertaining, although slow going because I only have it on 1.2 times speed. So I am back from my nail appointment, and I've also filmed my YouTube video. So all I need to do now is film one more reel, but I did stop by the charity shop and pick up the treasures that I left behind yesterday. When I saw these, I was instantly obsessed with them, but then I was second guessing myself, you know, because I was like, do I really need this? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, they were such a great find. You have to go back for them. So let me introduce you guys to the Royal Worcester Legends of Love collection. I am about to ascend into the world of grandma decor because I knew collectible plates existed, right? They're always up on your granny's wall, especially, you know, the Charles and Princess Di wedding ones. I've seen hundreds of those, but I honestly thought that all collectible plates were either something to do with the royal family or some sort of flower. I did not even think that beauties like this could exist. These are given old school epic fantasy book cover. The full set of these is actually 12 plates, and my charity shop only had 9. Unfortunately, 2 of the 3 that I'm missing are ones that I feel like I need to get my hands on, but I'm happy with what I have so far. 9 is obviously a lot. 9 decorative plates, I feel, is the start of a hardcore collection, and I don't feel like I am that level of invested yet. Luckily, I do have a lot of wall space in my house, so my plan is to spread these out across a few different gallery walls, and I'm actually only going to be keeping 5 of them. I'm sending 4 of them off to a friend who was also feral for these designs when I showed them to her. Brace yourselves, guys, because tell me that this is not essentially the cover of one of Robin Hobb's Life Ship books, like the original paperbacks that I have. Tell me that this is not given that. And this is Tristan and Isolde. We also have the gorgeous, the whimsical Titania and Oberon. The first one that I saw that I fell in love with was Robin and Marion. You know, Robin Hood and Maid Marian, those icons. Even more iconic than them, we have Romeo and Juliet. And then finally, for the ones that I'm keeping, we also have Cupid and Psyche. Now, the ones that I'm passing on, still gorgeous, just most of them are historical figures as opposed to like folklore
book characters and they don't resonate with me as much, but I do really love this one, which is Bonnie Prince Charlie and Flora MacDonald. We also have, this is actually really nice as well, Charles II and Nell Gwyn. Even the ones that are historical as opposed to fictional still look like they came out of the pages of a fantasy book. We also have Antony and Cleopatra, and then the last one is Lord Nelson and Lady Hamilton. So of the 3 that are missing, there are 2 that I plan on hunting down, and they are Cathy and Heathcliff. How stunning. And also the girly pop icons, apparently, given the design of this play. We also have Guinevere and Lancelot. So I'm going to try and get those. I know I've seen Guinevere and Lancelot on Vinted for like £8, which is more than I paid for these. These were £27 for all of them, which is insane. And this has opened a world that I did not need to know existed, because since I have researched, like I came home and I looked into these to see like what the full range was and just investigate them a little bit. These were also produced in 93 to 94. But what I did discover through researching these is that there are a whole ton of really nice fantastical Royal Worcester decorative plates out there, including a huge ancient Greek collection. There's also a Myth and Legends collection. I'm a little bit scared, honestly, because if I stumbled across any more sets like this, I don't think I could resist. And like I said, 9 plates is a lot, which is why I'm already only keeping 5, and I'm going to push it to 7 if I hunt down those 2 extras. But the possibilities here are endless. And I don't know how much self-control I have. So let me know down below, because I put this, when I saw these yesterday, I sent a picture to my patrons and said, are these beautiful or hideous? And unfortunately, the overwhelming verdict was hideous. But you know, guys, it's okay to be wrong. Not all of us can be right all the time, because I think they're beautiful. But then I messaged my friends and they were like, no, they are actually stunning. So I went with my gut. Let me know what you think. If you think they're hideous, honestly, I'm not going to be offended, because I do feel like with the art style, like I think they're stunning, but there is like a vintage element to them. Like the main reason I'm drawn to them is because they remind me of old school epic fantasy covers, which I personally think are beautiful, but they're not to everyone's taste. So let me know what you think. I think they look really good though. Like imagine this on the black wall. Stunning. Good evening, friends. I am currently doing reading sprints on Patreon. However, we're 1 hour and 45 minutes in, and so far no reading has been done. My aim for tonight is to finish the second part of the Elantris audiobook, which I have 2 hours and 41 minutes left in. So my work is gonna be cut out for me, because I normally only go until about 10 p.m. and it's 7:45. So we'll see. But I don't know obviously how many pages that's going to convert to, but I'm pretty sure it will take me past the page 400 mark in this, which I'm currently on page 332, which is just past the halfway point. The reason why I haven't done any reading so far in sprints is because I wanted to edit the rest of my vlog up today. I didn't have a chance to do it earlier today because I went out to see my dad. I haven't seen him actually since the end of June, Father's Day, because I've been really busy. So it was really nice to go catch up, hang out. There's just, even like at 33 years old, there's still something really comforting about going home. So I had lunch, played with the dogs, caught up with my dad, came home, went for a run, and now I'm here. So I'm all cozy and set up. I'm going to put my audiobook on, and I'm also going to do some work on my cross stitch, which I've actually nearly finished. If you can see these stitches here, the design only goes a couple of stitches past this point, so I don't have too long to go, which means I'm in the market for a new project. Now I do have quite a few, and by quite a few I mean I have a handful of cross stitch kits and patterns stashed. The amount of patterns I have is bigger than the amount of kits that I have. I have plenty to be working on, shall we say, but am I going to pick up something shiny and new? Definitely a possibility. I might dig out the kit I've been working on for the past 12 years because I'm really feeling motivated to get back into that, which I'll show you if I do end up digging that out. But actually, if you guys are cross stitchers and you know of any stitch alongs starting soon, let me know, because obviously I'm in the market for a new project. It would be a great time to do a stitch along. It would be my first one. If you guys don't know what that is, it's essentially where you have, they do mystery ones, but also ones where you know where the picture's going to be. Personally,
I'm more interested in the mystery ones, but it would have to be by somebody whose style I know I like, so I know I'm gonna like what I'm stitching. But essentially you get every week, every month, a section of the pattern is revealed for you to accomplish in that time period, and then at the end of the stitch along you'll have done the full piece. I know that Caterpillar Cross Stitch do a lot, and some of their designs I do like, but the Halloween one has already started, and the Christmas one, I think, based on the fuzzed out preview that we've got, looks like it's going to be in the style of the Halloween street that they did either last year or the year before, and I actually don't love that design. So if you guys know of any others, then please let me know, because I'm in the market. But I mean, I'm sure I'll find something. I'm just trying to find something that I'm really excited about right now, which, you know, I do think it is going to be digging out that old one that I've already started.
I kiss the water from your mouth, toiling with the thought of perfect, and how nothing ever stays the same. My heart will change. I wait for nothing. The intense rearrange, making space.
Hello, my friends. I have just finished getting myself ready for an event that I'm going to tonight, which I have to leave for in about 20 minutes. So we'll keep this brief because I got to put my bag together. But I'm going to the launch event for Tempest, which is one of Hachette's young adult imprints. I'm pretty sure that this is more of a rebrand than it is a launch, because I think that Tempest used to be bookmarked, and it is the publisher that Alice Oseman, I'm pretty sure, is on, as well as Lee Bardugo for Six of Crows, and also Laini Taylor, at least her Dream Dark is on, yeah, because I think Strange the Dreamer's on Hodder. It's going to be a fun night, and because I'm off to London, I need to pick myself a physical book, because staring into space for like 3+ hours of trains while I listen to my audiobook is really not going to be the vibe. In terms of my audiobook though, because the live show for this is tomorrow, so I need to finish it up, I have 3 hours and 53 minutes left on single speed, but obviously I've been listening on 1.25, which does condense that a little bit. So tomorrow I'm gonna have my work cut out for me, because I have a lot of editing to do as well. But for my train journey, I have managed, because I was really worried about fitting a book in my bag. I normally take my Kindle in this bag, but none of the romance that I want to read I currently have on Kindle, or any romance that's on my TBR, and I don't want to pick up fantasy given that I'm currently in the middle of an epic fantasy. But I managed to just about squeeze this Fairy Loot e-reader sleeve into my bag, and in the e-reader sleeve I just about managed to squeeze, it is like a tight fit, but it's the best that I could do, Daybreak by Autumn Woods. Now, I'm a little bit nervous about taking this copy with me in my handbag, because it's not a book where I want to get the edges all tatty, but it is the romance that I most want to read right now. So we're just gonna do it. I mean, if worse comes to worse, if I absolutely destroy it, there is a chance that I would still be able to pick up a copy of this because it's only just been released. But also, at the end of the day, books are meant to be read, especially paperbacks. But this one is the second book in a duology, which is why I'm prioritizing this one, because if I have time to squeeze in any contemporary romance this month, then I may as well finish up a series while I'm at it. I read Nightshade just a couple of months ago actually, and I made this whole like non-spoiler vlog on whether it's worth the hype if you guys want to check it out. Obviously, as you can probably tell, because I am about to start the sequel, I did really enjoy it myself. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I don't think that it's a perfect book. I actually had a few issues with it in terms of like inconsistencies and things that were inaccurate, but in terms of it being a romance, I got really invested in it, which predominantly is what you want. But this one is following a young woman who lives in Scotland, who attends a prestigious university that educates the elite, and this is the only place that has allowed her entry because her parents died a few years ago and her grades really suffered because of that. So she's been trying to further her education, but nowhere will accept her. So she is a little bit surprised when she gets an invitation from this university, like essentially a full scholarship, but her parents did work here. So she's figuring that it's kind of like they feel bad because her parents have died and they're extending this as a kind of like a favor. So she attends this university to get herself an education, but actually her main driving force is that she would like to find out more information about her parents' death, because they actually died when they were on the helicopter that regularly transfers the people who work at the university from the school to like wherever it is outside of the grounds. And she believes that the people responsible are the ones that manufacture the helicopters. So when she rocks up at this school, the last thing that she expects and the last thing that she wants is to grow closer to and attracted to the son of the man that runs the company that builds those helicopters. This is like a dark academia romance that also has slight mafia elements in it as well, which I feel like the way that this cover looks for Nightshade and Daybreak, it looks like it's a contemporary fantasy romance. It's not. It is purely mundane, mainly rooted in dark academia because of the setting of the university. But a lot of the people who attend this university are the children of like multi-millionaires, corrupt businessmen, people in the mafia, and that is the kind of environment that our main character, as a mundane working class girl from a small town in Scotland, is thrown into. I'm probably not going to finish this entire thing. Nightshade was an incredibly quick read for me, but this one is almost 400 pages. I do think I'm going to get through the majority of this though. I think in total we're looking at about 5 hours of train time. And something that focusing on an audiobook this week has really achieved for me is making me miss reading with my eyeballs. So I'm actually really excited for some concentrated train time, because y'all know I do my best reading when I'm on the train. I just want to take a moment for the outfit before I pick up the pace. The dress is one of the Nobody's Child ones that I've been talking a lot about recently. Once again, I did pick this up on Vinted, and it is one of their Starlight dresses. I'm wearing heels today, which I'm a little bit worried about, honestly, but I'm actually not going to be doing much walking. Pray for me, I'm a little bit nervous, but it should be all right.
Every time I think of summertime, girl, I think of you. I think of caramel skin, your curly hair, and 3-bird tattoos. Every time I scroll through a photo album, I always feel nostalgia mixed with emptiness, 'cause we thought we were limitless, but now
I am feeling a little worse for wear today, which I feel may be apparent, but I don't really drink anymore. And by that, like, I don't mean that I don't consume alcohol. I just don't regularly go out for drinks. Like, I might go out for dinner and have a drink. If it's summer, like, we have beer in the house and I might have like a beer. But consuming alcohol, not something I do regularly. Saying that though, my tolerance for alcohol is okay. Like, I don't really have hangovers anymore, and I never have any issues when I drink. And if you've been following me on Instagram recently, you may have noticed that I've recently discovered margaritas. Not only just regular margaritas, spicy margaritas specifically. And you know, a spicy margarita or two with dinner is real good. You know what isn't real good? Drinking tequila all night. I don't think I have consumed that much tequila in the last 10 years, and it has me feeling not so great this morning. I am a little bit worse for wear. I have 100% felt better, and it's a really inconvenient day for it because I have book club tonight. I have a book to finish. I have a lot of things to talk to you guys about, but the event last night was a really good time. Spicy margaritas definitely contributed to the good time, even if I am regretting them at this point. But yeah, it was really fun to launch and celebrate the launch of the Tempest imprint. They gave us goodie bags, which Kami apparently doesn't want me to show you, but I have a couple of proofs in there, as well as an additional book that I picked up, which is one that I completely forgot was coming out this year, and so I just didn't pre-order it, and I've been meaning to get my hands on a copy, so it's really handy that they had it there. There was also like a cover reveal, activity stations, a photo booth, and it was a really fun night, even though I don't feel so amazing right now. I also have reading updates for you, but we'll start with the goodie bag. Thank you so much to Tempest for inviting me to this one, and of course for the goodies in this bag. So Sorry guys, if you had a snuffle then. What is it, Sweet Pea? We've been snuggling on the couch all morning/afternoon. So I don't know why she's so clingy right now. But the thing that I picked up, so they had like the goodie bags that had the proofs in, and then they had a token in the bags that you could exchange for an extra book. And I picked up Heartstopper Volume 6 because I've read all of the other volumes of Heartstopper. The only thing I haven't read is the yearbook and also the novel that follows Charlie's sister that also has Nick and Charlie in it. And I think, is there a book called Nick and Charlie as well? I've only read the comics essentially, but I haven't finished out the series. And so when I saw this, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to complete that series, because I do feel like I need to reread. And because I need to reread, and I don't necessarily plan on doing that anytime soon, I feel like I've really been dragging my feet on picking this up and not really prioritizing it. But I really, really love Heartstopper. It is a young adult queer romance between two boys who attend the same school. It is super British because Alice Oseman is British, and we're following Nick and Charlie. And I think it's Charlie is openly gay, although he was kind of forced to come out. And Nick doesn't even know that he likes boys until he meets and starts to build a friendship with Charlie. So it's really sweet, it's really wholesome. It does deal with some more difficult topics. One that I can remember straight off the top of my head is eating disorders are discussed in here, but generally like their relationship is so sweet and the whole thing is like really adorable. Even though this is not the type of story that I usually like to read, like young adult contemporary romance, you don't really see me picking that up anymore. It is something that I really like in graphic format, because not only do I like the Heartstopper comics, but I also have a ton of manga that falls into that category that I really enjoy as well. So I need to get a reread on the cards. It looks intimidating because there's 5-6 installments included in this, but there, because it's a webcomic that's bound up, all of the frames are really big and it actually really wouldn't take me that long at all. So for the proofs, I've seen what's in here, but I don't actually know what the books are. So the first one there was a cover reveal for last night, and that is Bound by Fate by Cairo Ibangbi. This one says a 5 millennia war, a divine union, a connection neither of them can ignore, and it is released on the 4th of March 2027. This is my second 2027 proof that I have right now, which is honestly pretty scary. So in the goodie bags there were 2 different types of proof for this book. There was the blue one that I have, and then also a red one, which makes a lot of sense now, because this says that for 5 millennia the Orisas and the Olympians have been at war, and now to keep the peace the Divine Council have arranged a union between Osun, the fierce river goddess of the Orisa, and Ares, the merciless Olympian god of war. So I'm pretty sure the author described it as a like fast-paced romantic fantasy. Not a huge fan of fast pacing, but I do like romantic fantasy, especially when we're calling it romantic fantasy, implying that the fantasy plotline is more prominent than the romance. And then one that I know absolutely nothing about, because I already had an idea that what genre that was. We have The Scorpion Deep by C.G. Drews. The front of this says, underwater only he can hear you scream, and it says a darkly unsettling queer horrormance from C.G. Drews. I recognize the name C.G. Drews. What else have they written? Don't Let the Forest In. Okay, I really like young adult horror thrillers, slashers. I also like adult books in that genre, but it's one of the genres where young adults still really hits for me. So I'll be excited to give this one a try, although what type of horror is it? Because some types of horror just give me the ick, like mushrooms. I'm looking at you. Oh, it's a sea god. You know, act of wild desperation, Jonathan pays a tithe to Scorpion Deep, an eldritch sea god, and to his horror awakens him from the murky depths. As scales grow down his spine and Scorpion Deep's obsession darkens, Jonathan realizes the only way to end the nightmare is to destroy the monster. Also in the goodie bag we had Parma Violets, which honestly I know a lot of people hate these, but they are my favorites, and this really nice purple Tempest mug, as well as a bunch of bookmarks. So thank you for the goodies, Tempest, and also the great time. It was a night to remember for sure, and I also learned a very valuable lesson, which is that if I'm going to drink tequila, it should be a 1 to 2 drink kind of night, not a 5 to 6 drink kind of night. So I also have a reading update for you because of course the most important thing that I need to do today is finish Elantris. And you know, the good thing about having a few drinks meant that on the train home I was not going to be reading with my eyeballs. That was not going to happen. So I closed my eyes and I put on my audiobook, and I've also just been lying. I was supposed to be doing my cross stitch, but I've just been lying on the couch with my eyes closed and my headphones on listening to Elantris. So I now only have 55 pages left. I forgot what a slow burn this book is. I knew that I really liked it, but a lot of people do struggle with this book. I don't think I've ever struggled with it. Like, I've always been interested. Both times I've read it, I found the beginning interesting. But I think, like is typical for Brandon Sanderson, his books build the more you get into them. And I forgot the build and like the plot twists and what was going on towards the end of this book. So I'm really enjoying experiencing all of that again. This is like why we should be holding on to books that we really love to reread in the future, because I remembered the setting of this. I remembered the characters. I still don't know. I don't remember what happened to Elantris. Obviously, the characters are exploring it throughout the course of this book. So why the magic in Elantris died and why everything's like rotten and gross now. So as we're going through it, like I'm learning about what happened to Elantris, but the whole like solution, the thing that they're building towards, still do not remember what it was. It's almost like reading this book for the first time, which is great. Graphic audio as well still does remain to be very good. Still haven't decided whether I'm going to continue on and reread the rest of the Sanderson apart from Stormlight in graphic audio, because I do think that with the way that I retain information, audio is never the best way for me to go when it comes to fantasy. However, because it's a reread, that's not as important. And something that I have really enjoyed that I touched upon yesterday is the fact that listening to this in audiobook has freed up my like time in my hands for some of my other hobbies that I've really enjoyed. So we'll see how I feel when I get to Mistborn, which I'm pretty sure is what we're reading next. And of course, I did start another book on the way to London. I can release it from its prison. I was so on theme for that event yesterday because my nails are purple, my book sleeve is purple, my book itself is, I would say, like a periwinkle kind of color. It's obviously it's more blue than it is purple, but like it goes really nicely with the purple of the sleeve. So everything was on brand. And you know what is on brand? Alex Green. I love this man. I also forgot to take a bookmark with me, so I used the elastoplast that I put in my bag in case I got blisters. But I was eating this up, so I didn't read anything on the way back. On the way there, I read half of this book. I'm on page 196. Now, this vlog is supposed to be ending today, so I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to finish this one for you guys, but just know that we're heading towards a 5-star. Book 1 was 4.5, book 2 5-star energy. I am obsessed with this man. I really like Autumn Wood's writing as well, because it's not overly lyrical, it's not overly poetical or dense or like flowery, but the way, especially from Alex's perspective, that he describes Ophelia, beautiful. Stunning. 10 out of 10, no notes. If you've read this one, without spoilers, I'll kind of let you know where I'm up to. There's an art class. That's where I am. That's where I had to put my book down when I got off the train yesterday, and I was so mad about it. I was so mad that I couldn't read this on the way home. So my plan for today is to finish Elantris. I was supposed to be getting caught up on all of this vlog. I'm going out to the cinema tomorrow, so if I don't do it today, I'm like, when do I do it? But I'm not going to focus on that right now. I'm going to finish Elantris. It's still like it's afternoon, but it's only 1:20. It feels a lot later. So maybe, given how quickly I read the first half of this, maybe I can do both of these today, and I'll just have to make sure I'm up early to finish editing this video tomorrow if I run out of time today. So I know that you guys will be thrilled to find out that I feel so much better today. Today is a good day, besties. Yesterday, on the other hand, was pretty much a write-off. After I updated you guys, I got back on my couch with pain, I put my headphones on, I finished up Elantris, and then I slept for 4 hours before I made dinner, jumped into the live discussion for this, and then we hung out for a couple of hours backstage, and I went to bed. So unfortunately, I have not finished Daybreak by Autumn Woods, which means that I'm not going to be able to talk about my final thoughts on this one in this vlog, because I'm going to the cinema to see The Odyssey in about 3 hours, and I gotta get us all wrapped up here before I do that. So if you want to know my final thoughts on this one, then do stay tuned for my August wrap up. Unfortunately, we are going to be waiting a while for that, but I'm definitely going to be finishing this very soon, probably tonight, just not in time for it to make it into this vlog. But in terms of Elantris, I really enjoyed my reread of this one. I feel like this vlog is almost like a return to old school booktube, like my old school style of vlogging, even down to the fact that I'm working to the wire to get this vlog out. I normally have content in the bank. Like when you see a vlog, it's normally been at least a few days since I finished filming it. This video is going up today, on the day that I'm sat here talking to you guys. So what better book to read than one that I read super early in my channel? Now, I did go the audiobook route on this one, and my reread of this was not a critical one. I just wanted to re-experience the story for the book club, and also to get myself reacquainted with some of the Cosmere books, so that when I do eventually catch up, I'm in a good place to move forward. I did think it was really interesting rereading this, having read a whole bunch more Sanderson books though, because this is like Sanderson light. We still had those lightning moments where everything comes together and you realize that all of the information that you needed to crack the plot has been in plain sight the entire time, if only you could put it together. But the level of complexity in this book is just a little bit less than we see in like Mistborn and the Stormlight Archive. I do feel like this is a really good introduction to Sanderson's work in that way, because I think he'd written a few books before this was published, but this was his first actual published book. So he's a much more experienced writer now, and I have heard that there are some issues with his writing in the newer stuff that I haven't read, but up until what I've read from Sanderson, he only goes upwards from here. So I ended up giving this one 5 stars, and I did have a look back on Goodreads, and the first time I read it, I rated it 4. Obviously, as I've said, my reread of this wasn't super critical, but it also felt really nostalgic to reread this at this point, where, like I said, I've read so much more from Sanderson, and I know now that he's an author that I really like. There are issues, or not issues that I have with this, but like the character work could be better. I could be more connected and emotionally attached to the characters in Elantris, and I'm not really. Like, we had some casualties in here and I wasn't especially bothered by them, but I liked that we had a little glimmer of what is to come from Sanderson. As I said, his writing in my experience only goes from strength to strength, and I don't want to spoil, like, we couldn't talk about this in the live show because there's a bunch of people who are joining us for the first time reading Sanderson. Also, some of the hosts have never read Sanderson before. There is something a little bit familiar about the magic, or one of the magical elements of this world, and I'm really excited to go through and reread some of the books that I've already read with that already in mind. So this is like one of the reasons why I wanted to reread. I'm not sure I understood the expanse of the Cosmere when I first started this, or how Brandon Sanderson likes to tie things together. It's really fun for me to reread. That's why I wanted to do this read along and host this read along, because it's really fun for me to dive back into these stories and re-experience them with some of the knowledge that I have gleaned further down the line. But I feel like I'm also at a point now where rereading Sanderson by myself, or actually setting aside that time and prioritizing that, is something that's just like really intimidating and unlikely to happen. So I'm really thankful to Sandra and for this read along to enable me to be able to do that. I'm also really excited to read Mistborn again, because that's one of my favorite, like my favorite Cosmere book is Oathbringer, but after Oathbringer, it's The Final Empire. So I'm really excited to revisit Mistborn, and also once again hold myself accountable to reading the series kind of back to back. But yeah, it's been so fun to revisit one of my favorite authors, honestly, for this vlog, but also to chat with you guys in a little bit more of a casual setting again. So let me know if you've enjoyed this one. Honestly, I've had so much fun with this vlog. Even like the thing that we talked about earlier in the week that was bothering me, literally could not care less at this point where I am in the week. I do think though that taking the time to sit down and kind of talk through my feelings really helped me to process that and helped me to feel a lot better about it instead of feeling like I was repressing it and I had things that I wanted to say that I felt like I couldn't. So that was like really helpful, and it does really remind me of an earlier point in my channel where I used to use vlogs as an outlet to talk through some things to help me to work through them. So I'm really happy that I sat down and talked that through with you guys this week. I do actually just want to throw a little reminder into the end of this vlog actually, because it is currently on the day that I'm filming, on the day that you're watching, it is Book Lovers Day, and I am hosting a Trover trip to India in October. It's essentially a group trip, has a full itinerary, there's some landmarks, also some safari elements to it, and you guys can come along. There's only 3 spots left, but because I am a Bookish creator and it is Book Lovers Day, Trover Trip are actually running a sale right now. Today is the last day though, where you can get $50 off all book trips using the code that I'm going to put on the screen, because I'm pretty sure it's book50, but my phone's all the way over there and I ain't checking. So if you guys want to check that out at any point, my most recent Trover trips are always down in my description, but I just thought that I would throw that sale in there as today is the last day to take advantage of it. But thanks for hanging out with me this week, guys. I'm really excited to get back to Daybreak and finish it off. Honestly, I was kicking my feet on the train when I was reading it the other day, and once that this vlog is finished and I've been to the cinema, I'm going to devote myself to this one. So I do hope that you've enjoyed this vlog if you made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.